And I want to read something. It is out of the second book of Adam and Eve from the
Yeah.
lost books of the Bible.
Yep.
All right. And so it's the second book of Adam and Eve, chapter 5. And what's important, there's a lot of very important things in this that I want to read. So here it goes. It says, verse 1, it says, when Seth was 7 years old, he knew good and evil and was consistent in fasting and praying and spent all his nights in praying to Yah for mercy and forgiveness. He also fasted when bringing up his offering every day. He fasted more than his father did because his demeanor was beautiful, like that of an angel of Yah. He also had a good heart, and his soul was precious. And for this reason, he brought up his offering every day. And Yah was pleased with his offering, but he was also pleased with his purity. And he continued doing the will of Yah and of his father and mother until he was 7 years old. After that, as he was coming down from the altar, after giving his offering, Satan appeared to him in the form of a beautiful angel, brilliant with light, with a staff of light in his hand and wrapped with a girdle of light. He greeted Seth with a beautiful smile and began to beguile him with beautiful words, saying to him, Seth, why do you live in this mountain? It is rough, full of stones and sand, and trees with no good fruit on them. It is a wilderness without houses or towns, no good place to live in. But everywhere there is heat, weariness, and trouble. He said further, but we live in beautiful places, in a world other than this earth. Our world is one of light, and we live in the best conditions. Our women are more beautiful than any others. Seth, I wish you to marry one of them, because I see that you are handsome to look at. In this land there is not one woman good enough for you, and there are only 5 souls in it. But in our world, there are many men and many young unmarried women, all more beautiful than one than the other. So I wish to remove you from here so that you may see my relations and be wedded to whichever you like. Verse 8, you shall live by me and live it and be at peace. You shall be filled with glory and light, just as we are. You shall remain in our world and rest from this world and its misery. You shall never again feel weak and weary. You shall never bring up an offering or appeal for mercy. You shall commit no more sin, nor be swayed by passions. And if you will listen to what I say, you shall wed one of my daughters, because to us it is not a sin and it is not considered animal lust.
Let's see, go back up.
Huh? No.
Yeah, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. For in our world we have no God, because we are all gods, and we are all of the light and are heavenly, powerful, strong, and glorious. Verse 6, in chapter 6. When Seth heard these words, he was amazed and began to believe Satan's treacherous speech and said to him, you said there is another world created other than this one, and there are other creatures more beautiful than the creatures are in this world? And Satan said, yes, you have heard me correctly, and I will tell you more good things about them and their ways. But Seth said to him, your words have amazed me, and your beautiful description of it all. But I cannot go with you today, at least not until I have gone to my father Adam and to my mother Eve, and told them all you have said to me. Then if they give me permission to go with you, I will come. Seth said, I am afraid of doing anything without my father and mother's permission. I do not want to be like my brother Cain and like my father Adam, who transgressed the command of Yah. But you know your way to this place. So come and meet me here tomorrow. When Satan heard this, he said to Seth, if you tell your father Adam what I have told you, he will not let you come with me. But listen to me. Do not tell your father and mother what I have said to you. Instead, come with me today. Come now to our world where you will see beautiful things and enjoy yourself there. Celebrate this day among my children, watching them and taking your fill of happiness. You have joy there. Then I shall bring you back to this place tomorrow. However, if you would rather stay there with me, so be it. Then Seth answered, the hope, love, spirit of my father and my mother hangs on me, and if I hide from them one day, they will die, and God will hold me guilty of sinning against them. And if they know that I have come to this place, they assume it is to bring up my offering, and they would expect not to be separated from me 1 hour. Neither should I go to any other place unless they let me. But they treat me most kindly because I always come back to them quickly. Then Satan said to him, what will happen to you if you were to disappear from them one night and return to them at break of day? Okay. 11. But Seth, when he saw how he kept on talking and that he would not leave him alone, he ran and went up to the altar and spread his hands to Yah and sought deliverance from Yah. Then Yah sent his word and cursed Satan, who fled from him. But Seth had gone up to the altar, saying in his heart, the altar is the place of offering, and Yah is there. A divine fire shall consume what is on it, and so Satan will be unable to hurt me and shall not take me away from here. Then Seth came down from the altar and went to his father and mother, whom he found on his way, and who were longing to hear his voice, because he had been missing a while. He then began to tell them what had befallen him from Satan under the form of an angel. But when Adam heard his account, he kissed his face and warned him against that angel, telling him it was Satan who appeared to him. Then Adam took Seth, and they went to the cave of treasures and rejoiced there. But from that day on, Adam and Eve were never separated from him wherever he went, whether for his offering or for anything else. This sign happened to Seth when he was 9 years old.
Right.
All right. So in that story, wants to draw us away from our family, from Yah. Exactly. Right. So Seth was only a little boy, but he was already taught the mistakes of his father and the mistakes of Cain, his brother. So he already knew Seth did right to resist Hasatan. We need to glean from Seth. Exactly. Yes. And that's what we want to talk about is Seth's experience. And this also goes with our own experience. And the thing about it is we all will be tried by Satan. Right. Every one of us. I personally met Satan. She has personally met Satan. Anyone who is following Yah at some point in your walk.
Yes.
Once you've gotten to a point in your walk where Yah wants you to choose for yourself whom you shall serve. Yep. Yahweh will take you to Satan's palace. Ooh. And just like in this, Satan promised, hey, won't you come with me? Hey, disregard your parents. Don't worry about them. If you tell them, they're not going to let you come. You know, he gave them all these different things, but Satan does the same thing with us. Satan gives us a choice and says, hey, I'll give you this, this, and this. I'll give you all these things if you will just follow me, come with me. And you have a choice to make at that moment. And it's a very sobering choice. It's like your mind is super clear. You know exactly what you're talking about. You know exactly what you're thinking. And you make the choice to say yes or no. That's why we raise our children in the way they should go. Exactly. So we have to teach our children because Satan wants them bad, especially children of promise, children who carrying the what do you call it? The blessing, the spirit of Yah. Right, the spirit of Yah into the next generation. Satan wants them bad. And we talked to the kids today about it, and they received this as well. And I want you guys to understand this is a very true thing that really happens to people. You will be given the choice to follow Satan and to have everything that you think you want, or to follow Yah and give up on the things of Satan. Okay. In this story, Satan is trying to teach a kid, telling the kid, hey, why don't you come be married to one of my daughters? He's like 9 years old. What does he care about being married right now? So we need to make sure that we understand the signs that we are being tricked, or we're being, Satan's trying to pull us away from the things of Yah. And one of the first things in here was Satan gave this amazing description. And I have no clue what he's talking about because there's nothing else. So he's just trying to make him make a decision to come to him right now, an impulse decision. Hey, come with me right now. You're going to miss it out if you don't come.
Right.
Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about nothing else. Just come right now. And Satan would not shut up about it. Like, he could not get away from Satan. Satan was just so adamant in trying to convince him. That was red flags for Seth. And because Seth could not run to his father and mother, he ran to Yah. Barakah on the children of Yah. Okay. I'm not understanding that really. but okay, well, I'll get it in a minute. But the thing is, we have to understand that Seth knew to run to Yah, either his parents or Yah. And he ran to Yah, and Yah was able to defend him. So we also need to understand that in our walk, we need to run to Yah. Or if we have spiritual parents, or someone that we're learning from or whatever, we can run to them and say, hey, look, this option just came up. What should I do?
Right.
And then look at all the flags, that happen. But the fact that he ran to Yah and he lifted his hands and he asked Yah to protect him. That was enough. And it worked. What'd you get?
What I got from it is Satan will come to you in a way that everything that he presents is gonna be so amazing. It's gonna sound so like, whoa, like you really want this, So he came to him explaining his world and the women and how lavish it was. And at first, Seth was going with it. Like, really? Like, yeah, I want to come. But wait, hold on. I got to go ask my parents. And then once Satan saw his obedient heart, he was like, no, dismiss your parents. Let's go right now. And once he saw that he was trying to convince him and swayed him away from what he knew in his heart was right, okay, then at that point, he's realizing, oh no, he's not gonna let me run to my parents. So what can I do? I gotta get out of the situation. But I'm out here by myself, because he was out there by himself trying to figure out how to make these decisions. So he decided, I'll just go to the altar. If it's not from Yah, it's gonna burn up, because the fire of Yah is gonna burn it out. So the same thing happens to us consistently. It's not just one time. Satan is not going to come to you once. He's going to come to you multiple times. And you have to have the discerning ability to figure out what decision you're going to make in a moment's time to get protected on one way or another. Okay. So in that, one of the things that I think is so important is teaching Yah's people how to discern when a decision like that is coming at you, when the enemy is offering you something and you're not sure of what that offering is, if it's from Yah or if it's not from Yah, one of the things that's going to give it away is somebody saying, no, we got to do it right now. Stay away from people that is wanting you to make something happen impulsively. Like right now, it's got to happen right now because I say so. No, don't do that. Pull back and say, I got to pray on it, which is what Seth did. He said, I can't console my mother and my father right now, and he's not going to let me go to my mother and my father. So what is the best option? Hey, give me 5 minutes to pray about it. Can you give me 5 minutes? If that person is still trying to like keep you from praying, man, look, bye. And get to the altar, because the altar is going to purify everything. And that is one of the lessons here that I wanted to bring out. The other one is anyone that is not respecting certain boundaries in your life. Hey, I gotta go ask my parents for permission. That's a boundary. That is a rule that sustains or restrains a child from doing the wrong thing. Anyone that is telling you to be disobedient to the people that you know in your mind that Yah has placed in your life for very specific reasons, to guide you and to build you in the ammunition of Yah. And I have to be specific because not everybody's working with Yah either. If they're trying to pull you away from that, red flag. If they say, hey, you got to go do it right now, let's just go hang out, have a good time. No. Stop them right there. People that care for you and love you will respect your boundaries and what Yah has called you to do. So if they're not respecting that, that means that they don't respect Yah's word either. And they're not from Yah. So we have to be discerning of these things and pull them out so that we can get equipped on how to make certain decisions in our life, whether it's leading us to the path that Yahweh has already set for us or leading us to the path that Satan wants to trap us in. So that is something that we have to decide. Yah can decide that for you. Your parents can decide that for you. You have to make that decision yourself. And sometimes, just like in this story, you had a split second to decide, which path you're going to take. And it's detrimental that we teach our people how to make those decisions, because this is where people fall short. A lot of our people get, they miss out on the kingdom because of this type of situations that they're placed in, and they're not sure which decision they need to make.
Also, we could bring that into modern day. So even in modern day times, you see all these actors and rappers and singers talking about giving their life to Satan, or, how they say, signing a blood contract or whatever, verbiage they use. But the idea is the same as this reading. It is, you are being shown what you could have if you go down this path. You want to be famous. You want to have the money. You want to have the houses. You want to have the cars. You want to have all the things that, that your flesh wants. And that's really what it is. Your flesh desires those things. Okay. Record labels, different people are willing to give you that in exchange for complete control over you.
Right.
Satan does the same thing. If this young man would have taken that, he would have been the third person who has gotten control of
in a family.
Like, he's trying to get everybody in the family. And he done already got the mom and the dad. He done already got one of the brothers. So now here's the other brother. And he is fighting for his life to stay away from the trap, because now he can see what the trap is. But you have so many young men and women today who want to be superstars, want to be football players, basketball players, singers, actors, and they fall for it. They sign the contract. They go along with it, and they lose themselves.
Right.
And they're not going to be able to find themselves pretty much ever. You know, maybe after they retire out of whatever they were doing, maybe they might come back and find Yah. But most likely they're not, because Satan will have such a hold on them. They're never letting go of that, you know, because let's just say you did take it, and let's say Yah gave you another chance. Allow you to keep all of that stuff that Satan gave you? No, you're gonna have to give it up. You have to give it away. You got to get rid of it. You can't keep it. You can't take that into the promised land.
Right.
That's something that Satan has for this life. We're not living for this life. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, before we were born, it seemed like an eternity before us. And then after we died, it's like an eternity after us. But Yah promises to be with us and for us to be with him for all of eternity. Right. This little life is so short in the spans of eternity. Right. You know, we can look back on history, look up all the different things that we can dig up, look at the pyramids, look at all these different things. And Yah was there before all of that, way before all of that. Okay. We can look at the dinosaur bones. We can look at all these different things from a long time ago and realize these things happened so long ago, we can't even comprehend it. And then to think heaven is for eternity and we'll be forever with Yah. And he is only extending that to a remnant, a small percentage of the population will make it. I want to be in that. And I want you guys to want to be in that. But understand that there is a very real enemy who will do whatever he can to keep you from that, just like he did with Seth. Right. Because if he would have got Seth, it would have messed up the whole lineage. Now Adam and Eve got to have another child. Right. And hopefully that child gets it. And they'll have to continue to have more kids. But if Satan could have corrupted, he would have done it. Right. There's nothing new under the sun, and Hasatan does not create, but distorts Yah's creation intended for you. Right. Exactly. He takes what Yah has already done and he perverts it. Correct. He brings it into a sinful place. Right. Okay, a place of lust, a place of greed, a place of everything bad. Okay, but we have to teach each other, and we have to teach our children that Satan is supposed to do that. So we cannot get upset when he does. We cannot be mad at Satan for what he was created to do. And we can talk about that for a second. What is Satan's job? Satan's job, Yah kept Satan and did away with all the other archangels. They're all, they're all locked up in chains. But why did Yahweh allow Satan to stay free? Number one, Satan was not as dangerous as some of the other angels. There were some like Azazel. Yeah, he was the harbinger of death. All he wanted to do was kill stuff. Yeah. So if he was able to be let free, he's just going to go kill stuff like crazy. And then there were other ones who were so caught up with lust and desire, they would take and rape everything that's walking. Yeah. There's some really bad angels, but Satan was not like any of them. Satan doesn't physically do anything. He talks to you. He tries to communicate. He tries to persuade you to do it. So he is the least violent of all the angels. Okay, because he doesn't physically try to force you or kill things or right. He simply just speaks and he tries to persuade you. Yah can use that because Yah can see that our heart, if we are given a choice, either we're going to be steadfast for him or we're not. Right. So he uses Satan to offer you everything that he can possibly offer you. And Yah will allow him to do that because it checks our heart. Right. Yah wants to make sure that your heart is for him and him alone. That's it. That there's nothing, when you walk out of this life, you will have been tempted in every which way is humanly possible. Because Satan has long time to tempt you with
Yeah.
everything that he could think of. And if you still choose Yah and you still choose to obey Yah's Sabbaths, his feasts and festivals, his new
Commandments.
moons, his commandments, his dietary
Dietary
laws, all
Yes.
those different things, and even his son, accepting his son into your life as your Lord and Savior with the Holy Spirit as well. You have to have all of this, even in the face of Satan. Okay? And that is why Satan is allowed to do what he does. That's why he was never defeated or killed or even chained up. Okay? And there's a lot of people that say, well, if God was so holy, why did he kill Satan? Why did he just allow Satan to do this? Why did he allow Satan to do that? Because it checks your heart.
Right.
It checks your heart, and we need that check. If there's no opposition, then we become exactly like the angels. And then when there was finally an opposition, a third
They went with it.
of innumerable, we have no clue how many millions or billions or trillions or quadrillions or however many angels it actually was.
Right.
We don't understand innumerable, okay? But the thing about that is a third of them, once they were finally given a choice, they chose the wrong thing.
Right.
So we need to be able to make that choice before we die. We have grace on our side that we can make a bad choice and still have grace, fall back on that grace and still be okay for eternity. Okay? We can repent. Angels could not repent.
Yep.
Because they were already in the presence of Yah. So there was nothing to repent of.
Right.
It's just you screwed up. You're out of here. You're done. Bye. Sorry, you made a mistake. Oh, too late. You're out.
Because you already know the truth.
Right, because you already know both
presence.
sides.
Right.
Right. They already knew both good and evil, but they just weren't given an evil choice.
Right.
They just always did what y'all wanted them to do because they just thought that's just what you do.
Right.
They didn't know there was another way. But now that we do, we become just like Yah. We become just like Satan says, you become like God. Yes. And we still are expected to choose Yah.
Yep.
It doesn't matter the attack. It doesn't matter what Satan is trying to give us, what he is trying to do with us. We still have to choose Yah, no matter what.
Yep. Yep. And in the end, you're promised to get exactly what Yah promised you, which is the reason why Yeshua had to walk through the process that he had to walk through and then ascend into heaven to his proper position. If he could not accomplish that, he could never gain glory and be placed in the position that it was supposed to belong to him. And this is the reason why I was listening to something a couple of days ago as I was just scanning through YouTube, and it was a pastor. I really don't listen to pastors like that, but for whatever reason that day, I decided to stop and listen. And what he was saying was, there's so many people that are falling out of the faith because they are taught that, no weapon formed against you will prosper. They're taught everything is going to be good. God, Yah is going to supply all of your needs according to his riches and glory. Like, you're never going to go through anything. Everything is supposed to be beautiful in your life, but that's not reality of the gospel. And so a lot of people are falling away from the true path because they're saying
from the beginning.
Right, because they're saying I'm supposed to be having this life and everything is supposed to be all good and dandy. I'm not supposed to be going through anything because Yeshua did everything for me. Not understanding that no. Yeshua was the example to show you the process that you have to walk through in order to gain the glory. You cannot gain the glory without process. Okay? Ruth could not become queen without first going through the process of cleansing. And people today don't understand that there is a process before you get to obtain what Yah says that you can have. And this is the reason why we are teaching the truth. Satan is going to come to you. He is going to offer you everything that you could possibly want in this life: fame, money, cars, women, whatever you want, whatever you desire, he is going to offer it to you. But you have to decide who you decide to go with. Do you decide to go ahead and receive the temporary things of this life that fills you with all the desires and the happy-go-lucky, facade that is played before you and take that temporarily, knowing that through eternity, you're not going to live in the place that you're supposed to live in. So you're exchanging the temporary for the eternal because you can't just possibly go through the process right now.
Right. You can't go through the pain and say no to stuff.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing is saying no to ourselves, saying no to our own fleshly desires. That is one of the hardest things that there is to do. Like if it was an enemy coming towards you, you could kill him, right? You could shoot him, stab him. You could do something to free yourself from him. But if it's you,
right,
most people will not fight against. Let's be honest. We can't kill ourselves, and the enemy is in you. It's you, your own desires.
Yep.
It's very hard to say no to that. And that is exactly what Yah is telling us to do. Say no. Everybody got this debate going on right now, in the Hebrew Israelite community. Can we have more than one wives? And the reason why they bring that up is because in their lustful heart, they desire to cheat. They desire to have more than one.
Ooh,
they desire to allow their lust just to go wild and be free.
Right. Come on.
But yet at the same time, ever since Solomon was the last person that was able to have multiple wives. Everybody after him did not have multiple wives. Why? There was something written in the spirit that we never heard of that said you can't have more than one wife now. Because Solomon screwed that up royally.
Right.
And after him, that was it. You don't see no more kings. You don't see no more people having more than one wife. Not even in the normal people. Because you see what happens when you have more than one wife. You are drawn away through lust to
worship other gods.
Okay. Yep. And that's exactly what it is. Yep. And there's other things that, modern day Hebrew Israelites and different people say, oh, we want to do this, we want to do that. The Christians, you can see from them how they screwed up the money thing. The church is just a money hustle now.
Right. Money business.
Right. So you can see that everything that Satan allows or offers us is eventually going to lead to nothing. So we are supposed to keep our clothes clean, keep our souls clean, keep ourselves clean, denying ourselves constantly. Right. And even in here in the story, it talked about Seth fasted every day. So that means he only allowed himself to eat a certain amount.
Or once
a day, or a very limited diet, like you see John the Baptist ate locusts and wild honey. That means he fasted every single day. He only ate certain things, just enough to keep his body going, and to give him the energy to do what he had to do. Of course, locust is pure protein, and then honey is, all your antioxidants and all your other stuff that you need. But the thing about it, you look at Peter. Peter eventually got to a diet of just bread and unleavened bread and olives. And so he only ate a certain amount of things. Why? Because he wants his to be stronger than his flesh. Right. Fasting on a continual basis allows your spirit to be stronger than your flesh. Correct. Even Daniel, when he was offered all of this food, he says, I can't eat all of this. Because if I eat all of this, my flesh is going to be stronger than my spirit. And I don't want that. I don't want them problems. In America, we are so fat, me included, because I love food. We're so fat because we cannot say no to food. Right. We're spiritually weak as ever because we cannot say no to our food. If you cannot control your tongue, you cannot control your belly, you are not going to be able to control your spirit.
That's right.
And it takes a very strong spirit to deny your flesh.
Right.
Because your tongue is a part of your flesh, your belly is a part of your flesh. They dictate what you want. Right. Your stomach, you feel your stomach rumbling and you're like, oh Lord, I gotta get something to eat. And you go and look for something to eat because your stomach rumbles. Right. But you have obese people because your stomach rumbles even when you're not hungry. Right. Your flesh is just trying to get you to do whatever it wants to do.
Right.
Your tongue. Every time somebody makes you mad, you want to curse them out. You want to talk about them. You want to jank on them. You know, crack jokes about them. You feel like you got to get back because someone said something. Your tongue you can mess around and let loose your tongue, and it can just destroy all kinds of stuff.
Right.
You know, I listened to the Hebrew Israelites curse, and it's like, wow, why do you allow your tongue to just do that? If you cannot stop your tongue, I know you cannot stop your stomach. And if you cannot stop your tongue and your stomach, I know your flesh is running wild. I cannot follow you. I cannot listen to you because your flesh is running wild.
Right.
And that's something that we have to get in check. We really have to make sure we are spiritually strong because Satan will come and tempt you when you're weak.
Right.
Around Thanksgiving, everybody's eating a whole lot, right? We don't celebrate any American holiday, so you ain't got to worry about that with us. But ideally, everybody who eats a lot around Thanksgiving, they're tempted. What are they tempted to do? Get ready for Christmas. You know, they're tempted with other things, other entities coming in and speaking to them even more blasphemous stuff. Hey, do this, do that. You know, cut down this tree, bring this dead tree into your house. Even though the Bible tells you do not cut down a tree and bring it into your house and decorate it. Like in the Bible, in the Old Testament, Yah is speaking and telling everybody, don't do that. They didn't call it Christmas. He didn't really call it anything. He just said, don't do the act of it.
Right.
Every man to his own wife and every woman to her own husband. That will be in the new covenant. That will be given to those who come out of the wilderness. Exactly. I'm glad you found that. That is very, very true. Because after it wasn't Yah's original plan. Okay. Because of our lust and our desire for women, we did it anyway, even though we weren't supposed to.
It's in Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 3 and 4. Look it up.
Hold on. Let's look it up.
Let's look it up. And this is what we do all day, every day. This is not just from when we do videos. All we do is talk about the word, and we teach our kids daily and talk to our kids daily on choices and in the word and walking in truth. And so this is what we do. You know, so we don't mind staying on video for hours because after we get off the video, we're going to sit down over there and we're going to talk about some other stuff and bring up some other scriptures and read some other books and Jeremiah chapter 10.
All right. So it says Jeremiah chapter 10, verses 3 and 4. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it might not move. Let's keep reading. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good. So that's the thing. What's up? Oh, keep reading. For as much as there is none like you unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might. Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee doth it appertain, for as much as among all wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdoms there is none like unto thee.
Baby, can you read this verse here? Because I looked at this in verse 2. It says why you don't do that.
Okay, thus says the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So he's saying
they create this custom. So Yah is basically, Jeremiah is explaining that the heathens, they create these customs for us to fall into. And he's describing it saying, don't do that. Do not follow them. Do not follow their customs. Do not cut a dead tree. That you are going to fasten yourself. You're going to put nails so it'll move. You're going to decorate it and deck it up. don't do it because
Right. It can't
it's
move.
not,
It can't do
move.
anything.
It can't do nothing for you. It's
Right.
not a God. Yet we, and I say we because society
Mhm.
has made it exactly that.
Right.
People spend so much money to decorate and to put these trees and to build this lion facade for their children,
Mhm.
you know, and Yah is saying it's disgusting to me. Don't do what the heathens do. That is not what I called you to do. Stop doing these things.
And we have to understand, what is the heathens? Heathens in modern day. When we talked about it last weekend, it talked about the Gentiles.
Yep.
The Gentiles in Yah's sight historically are a heathen nation. Okay. Who are the Gentiles? The Gentiles are the children of Japheth, the offspring of Japheth.
Mhm.
Okay. Modern day, it is the Caucasian races.
Right.
Okay. So we know that Yah is going to also pull out a remnant from them for himself.
Right.
But historically, they were always considered Gentiles, aka heathen. They were astronomers, which is why I just read, and it says, "Do not be dismayed by what you see in the heavens," because the heathen are dismayed by what they see in the heavens. They looked at astronomy and what you call astrology. They looked at astronomy in the sky,
the
and they
zodiac
said,
signs,
right,
and
the
all
zodiac
that stuff.
signs, and that's where you get the what do you call those? Like the little piece of paper you get in the
in the fortune cookie.
in the fortune. Yeah, that like to tell your fortunes and to use the signs in the sky and all that kind of stuff. That's what he was talking about in the beginning. Was don't be as the heathen. Don't copy what they copy, and don't be dismayed at the signs in the heavens like they are. When you go back into Nebuchadnezzar and the book of Daniel and all of that, you'll see the Chaldeans. Chaldeans were white,
right?
But they were also slaves back then too. So it is true that white people were slaves. Yes, we know. So the Chaldeans were astronomers, and they were some of the wise men for Nebuchadnezzar.
Right.
And they would come and tell Nebuchadnezzar his fortunes and all that kind of stuff. Until there became things that they could not explain, and he was ready to kill them all. And Daniel saved them, saving himself as well, because he was a holy man.
Right.
But he was lumped in with the same people, with those people.
Right.
But anyway, what I want you guys to understand is, in all these different things, there's different laws and different things that Yah says we can't do. And we need to know where they are, look at them, diagnose them, break them down, and say, these actions here are the reason why we don't do this.
Right.
Okay? And we want to stay holy. So we have to go through the Lord's Bible, through Yah's Bible, and look at the laws of Moses as well as the prophets, because the prophets spelling things out a little bit better than what Moses could in his time. Because the prophets, they see like, hey, look, I don't like that y'all do this. Right. Y'all are like worshiping the moon. What in the world is that? Right. And they're more specific of the action, because Yah would tell them, I don't like this action. Right. We don't understand what God it was that they were talking about, but we do understand that the action was something that Yah said don't do. So we need to get in this word, and we need to constantly make sure that our life is lining up with the word, not the other way around. We don't want to use the word to excuse the
our behavior
and the lustful things that are in our heart.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we're not trying to give ourselves an excuse. I could say, okay, we can have multiple wives because, Abraham, the father of faith, had multiple wives. Solomon and all his wisdom and knowledge had multiple wives.
Right.
David, who was Yah's friend, a friend of God, had multiple wives. So am I better than them? No. And you can use scripture to pervert what you want to do. Exactly. But that's not what Yah is designed.
Right.
He's designed it for us to use the scripture, because if you're an evil person, let's just say you out here doing bad things, right? But as you read in the word, the Bible says, oh, people who do these things, they're going to miss heaven. And you say, oh, but I don't want to miss heaven. So let me stop doing these things. And as you read something else, you say, oh, I'm one of these type of people. For instance, I read in the Word at the beginning of my journey about Esau and Jacob and hated. Well, when you look at Esau's character, I was an Esau. And I was like, ooh, I don't want to be like that. I love being out in the streets. I love riding around. I love, all that kind of stuff. Esau was a wilderness type of person. He liked to be out and about. He liked to be out in the world, which is how he found two wives of the local women, because he was supposed to be out hunting, but he out, messing around with the other girls and flirting and doing whatever everybody else did out in the streets, right? So you look at that type of person, a street type of person who just loves to be out on the block, who loves to be, riding around out in the world, lusting after women, all this kind of stuff, right? But then Jacob was a type of person that he liked to be at the house. He was quiet. He liked the garden. He liked to have his little animals. He liked all that kind of stuff. And I realized that I was an Esau, but Yah hates Esau, but he loves Jacob. So you know what I did? I changed the way I thought. And I said, I'm not going to be out the house like that anymore. I'll just chill at the house. Why? And at first it was hard. Like you get the itching bone in your body and you're like, oh, I just want to ride. I just want to go. I just want to do this. I just want to do that. Instead, I'll be like, hey, baby, you want to go for a ride? And she's like, yeah, we'll go for a ride. We'll go for a ride for a little bit. We'll come back home, because I don't want to get caught up in anything bad. Anything that Yah says he doesn't like, I'm not going to do, because I understand what's out there and what could happen. And that's what we're kind of trying to say is line up your life with the Word. You will not go wrong. And we're going to continue to get into these different stories, and bring these different books, try to find wisdom in kind of unconventional places, because everybody has gone over this Word. Everybody has gone over the Bible so much that, it's kind of taking the taste out of your mouth a little bit, But I started this thing in Matthew because I wanted to show, there were so many people saying, oh, y'all Hebrew Israelites, all y'all talk about is the Old Testament. So I wanted to show that Yeshua, in his amazingness, he basically, everything he did was based on the Old Testament, was based on the laws, the prophets, and all those types of things. And I wanted to show people that, yeah, you can read the New Testament, but once you understand the Old Testament, the New Testament makes so much more sense.
Yes, it does.
Like it really brings it home for you. And you understand why Yeshua came and his whole purpose, based on the Old Testament. So,
right.
But that's it. Anything else? Anything y'all want to say? We'll leave it up for a few minutes and chat with you.
Yeah. Any comments? Any books you are interested in?
Oh, there's also people right now they're already doing tabernacles and atonement and trumpets and how y'all gonna do it? I wish we had a way to talk, because I would love to talk with people and just see, how do other people do you plan on doing trumpets and atonement and tabernacles, and are you gonna take off from work and do it completely the way the Word says we're supposed to, or how are you gonna do it?
Yeah, they're gonna fulfill that,
right? Because you got 3 different things before with 8th day, 4 different feasts in the same month.
Yep.
And as far as jobs, I'm a truck driver. So you already know truck drivers they're like, no, we want you on the road. We don't really care for you to be at the house much, because that's the whole point of what you do. It's away from the house. But other than that, I'll give it a minute to let you all type and all. What else?
What else is going on? But this is a good teaching because, the Word says that out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, Yah speaks. So when we come together and we get the scriptures together, and today we read out of the the book of Adam and Eve. We read out of the book of Jeremiah in the Bible. We read out of Matthew. And, you know, you have your three witnesses right there. And the whole message kind of came together, you know, all together. So, you know, we're trying to teach as much as possible as Yah reveals to us what we need to talk about and help other people. Yeah, help other people.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You know, something else. While we're just talking, I want to mention something. We were talking yesterday, the day before yesterday, about how hard it's going to be for people to let go of a lot of things in this society. Because as we were reading, we come upon this part where you realize that Yah is telling us everything the Gentiles do. He wants us to not be drawn and not be swept away with it. But when you think about this society, you think about our lives, everything you do pulls you away from what Yah called you to do. And I've made videos on it before about how your job expects to be your God. Like your job actually thinks it's your God. You have people say, you know, employers say stuff like, well, if we fire you, how are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to take care of your babies? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? So they hold those things over your head and say, well, you can't do it without us. You know, you got to do what we say so that you can keep making this money, so that you can keep living. You know, if without us, you can't live. And they make themselves God in your life. And if you allow them to, they will become gods to you. Right. Because that's what they want. That's what they desire. Right. And Yah is saying, hey, I'm coming to rescue you from the land that you've been in. The 430 years are over. And Yah is saying, I'm coming to get you. I'm coming to rescue you. But at first, it's not going to be a physical rescue. Right. Even when you look at Moses, when he went to the children of Israel and to Pharaoh, he didn't immediately just walk in and walk right back out with them. Okay, another hurricane. All right, Mom. Yeah. We'll do that. But also, you know, he didn't just release the people. When Yeshua came, he didn't just release the people, you know, from under the Romans' rule. Right. And we are also not going to be pulled from under the Gentile rule all at one time. Right. At first, it is a spiritual thing. You know, it is going to be a mental thing. Mentally, we're supposed to cling to everything that Yah calls us to do. Right. And Yahweh has to become our everything. He has to become our next breath, just as important. So following his ways, following his rules, being everything that he called us to be is going to be very, very important to us. Okay. And then after that, then he starts to refresh and renew and all those amazing things that we learn about. But we also have to pull away from this society and be kind of like Daniel, how Daniel, he lived in the Babylonian society, but he wasn't so caught up with it that he forgot who he was and he forgot what Yah called him to do and be. Right. So we need to be the same way. Right. We need to look at this society just as that. As okay, y'all doing y'all thing over there. That's fine. Y'all go ahead. Y'all have your holidays. Y'all have all of your different things that you're doing. But we're gonna be over here doing our thing. Right. You know, and we have to know how much of this society we're gonna continue to take part in, and where we're gonna bag up, and how far are we going to bag up. Now you can bag up as far as the Amish people. You know, you can go back to living like way back then, you know, or you can be forward in society, have all the nice things, but you have to watch it because you get into this thing where, oh, I got to have the next newest thing. I got to have the next newest thing. That leads to covetousness. That leads to never being satisfied, always lusting for new cars, new house, things, new things, you know. That's why all these commercials on TV, and I can't stand commercials. I pay for YouTube Premium, so I don't have to look at commercials, because those things are constantly trying to get you to desire something else that you already don't have and don't really need.
Right.
But as long as you're watching commercials, you'll desire it. It's kind of like being a kid. You remember?
You'll order it. And
Right.
nowadays you go to Amazon and you can
Oh, yeah,
order
you just
whatever
order
you
it.
want.
Yeah.
Come to the house.
Right. But it's just like, when we were kids,
Uh-huh.
around Christmas time, all the ads for all the toys.
Well,
And
come
man,
on.
you watch all these commercials, like you couldn't watch 10 minutes of a cartoon without a commercial coming on
Right.
constantly. Or sometimes about the same toy over and over again. But the thing was, it's put out there for you to constantly desire, and you'll constantly go after,
Right.
so that you don't have time to go after the things of God.
Right.
And we was talking about, like houses. You sign that 30-year contract. They're hoping that it takes you 30 years, because now they have your mental for 30 years. I got to pay this bill. I got to go to work. I got to do this. I got to do that.
Right.
Homeless
Right.
people gave up that. They said, forget that. I don't care. So there's really nothing pulling on homeless people. But we don't want to be homeless, and we don't want to be pulled away by every little thing, right? So we got to figure out how to live
What the
somewhere in the
balance
middle.
is,
Right. And we don't want to live completely like the Amish, but we don't also want to live like the Jetsons either, relying on AI everything, relying on computer everything, and
Right.
automated everything. So we have to bag up so far and stay centered, at a level that we feel like Yah is allowing us to go forward, or, to stay at.
Right.
And then that's where we're going to stay.
Right.
So that's something for you guys to think about. That's something that I want you guys to realize, is that, hey, where are we in society? How far am I willing to go? Where do I cut off? It's just like during COVID, y'all said, don't you dare take that shot. And so we knew not to take the shot. We knew not to take that step. But there's going to be steps that are not going to be so blatant,
Right.
that you have the opportunity to take.
Right.
And it's up to you to know how far you're willing to go with it.
Right.
And on that note, we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great
Shabbat
one.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Have a great one. That was good.